Hi, it's Penny here, and today we're going to be putting together my TBR for September, so all the books that I'm planning to read in September. As usual, I will be using my TBR machine website that I made that spits out random reading prompts to pick 3 books off my physical TBR shelf. And this is going to be the first time in a little while where I'm just going to be generating the prompts in this video, so I really have nothing prepared. The other challenge for this month is going to be Becca's Bookopoly readathon. So what I'm going to do is for each of the 3 prompts that I'm going to generate from my TBR machine website, I'm also going to roll for Becca's Bookopoly. So if you haven't heard about that readathon, I will link it down below. But basically, Becca has a Bookopoly board like Monopoly where you get a reading prompt for every roll that you do. And I'm going to do this similarly to how I've done it before, where I'm going to generate the TBR machine prompt and then I'm going to roll for Bookopoly, and if I can find a book that meets both those prompts, I can just have 1 book. But if I can't, then I'll have to pick 2 books. For my TBR machine, I'm always trying to pick off my physical TBR shelf because the whole goal is to get down to TBR 0. But for Becca's Bookopoly, it can be an audiobook or whatever. There's no limitations. So I think that's the intro, and now we just need to pick the books. I am going to try to fit in my library books that I have from the library, and as well, I have the audiobooks for a couple of books off my physical shelf, so these ones I'm going to try really hard to pick. And actually, I only have 7 books left. I have them stacked next to me that aren't part of series, like books that I can pick up straight away, so that's not many. And actually, all of these books are books that I bought this year, so if I hadn't bought these, I would have made it to TBR 0 already, or except for series where I've got the book that isn't the next book I need to read, if you know what I mean. So that does mean our choices are going to be limited, but we're going to see how we go. So firstly, let's pick the TBR machine prompt. Read a book released 10 or more years ago. Okay, so I've checked my pile and it's just these 3 that match that prompt. So let's do the Bookopoly prompt and see if it also matches those books. Okay, so I've got my little Cactua game piece here and we are gonna roll some dice. I'm nervous. 5 and 6, which will be 11. Published or set 1999 or before. It's like almost the same prompt. It's perfect. Although 1999, I'm not sure if any of these were actually that early. I think they were all 2000s. 2007, 2008, and this one was 2003, I think. No! Oh, wait! I didn't even check these 2 that I was supposed to be prioritizing. Let me check this one. This could be the one. I think both of these are old. So this is 1996, and this one is 2008. This one's no good. So the one that I'm going to pick for both these prompts is going to be The Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. This is the, I want to say, the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series. I have been struggling with the Wheel of Time a little bit, but I'm going to try listening to the audiobook, which I have out from the library, and reading the physical book, like switching between them. And I have a feeling, I have a hope that that's going to make it easier for me to get through this series. But we'll see how it works out, I guess. But yes, I got it on there. I need to remember to look at this pile before I look at the other pile. Okay, second prompt for the TBR machine. We have got read a book written for young adults. Okay, I'm not exactly sure which ones of these count, but we'll see what the other prompt is first. So let's spin for Bookopoly, or roll for Bookopoly. 7. 1, 2, wait, I should turn this around for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Favorite setting. Yeah, I looked at this prompt and I was like, I don't really know that I have a favorite setting, so that's difficult. Oh, maybe this one is set in New Zealand. And I do like books set in New Zealand because I'm from New Zealand and it's always exciting. I don't know if it would be my favorite, but it's rare enough that it's always exciting. So I think I could stretch it. This though, I don't know. I read on the back, it's about a young girl on holiday with her mother at the coast. And then strange things begin to happen. Some kind of old Maori woman involved. Because this is a Maori author. I'm not going to try and say his name right now without practicing because I will probably butcher it. But let me see if I can look up whether this could be called young adult. Like it's following a young girl. It doesn't really say. It kind of seems like it's just general fiction, but like I think I'm going to count it because it's a teenage girl and I don't know, it seems like the kind of book maybe you would read in high school. I'm going to count this for both the prompts. So yeah, I don't know much about this other than I wanted to read more Maori authors and I saw this at a secondhand shop for $2, so I got it. So hopefully I'll enjoy that. But I am always excited to read books set in New Zealand. Okay, time for the third prompt. For the TBR machine, we've got, oh no, reread a book you've read before. That is not a helpful prompt for getting through my TBR. But I think I might be able to hack it. So, is this setting myself up for failure? You know, before I try and hack it, let me do Bookopoly. Okay, so we have got a 4 and a 6. I'll turn this around for you again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Features a death. Okay, we're gonna hack it. So, the book I'm gonna choose is Ruth Rendell Collected Stories. Now, I haven't read this, but I did read the first short story in this short story anthology, and I quite liked it. I wasn't sure if I was going to. This is a book my auntie was getting rid of, and so I grabbed it just because it looked like it might be interesting. And I did like the first story. And technically, because I've read that first story, I have read this book before. I haven't finished it, but I could reread that first story, if that makes it less cheating. And this is like mystery type stories. You know, I don't really know. I feel like what I was expecting from these short stories didn't really match with that first short story. However, I have no doubt that there will be a death, multiple deaths in this book. So this will count for that. So, is that all for 3 prompts already? Oh no. I mean, that's good. I didn't get any doubles. I did manage to fit in one of the books I wanted to fit in, but I'm still going to have to read the other ones. So, really all I did was add these 2 books onto the list of books that I already have to read. So let me tell you about all the books that I have to read. Firstly, library books. I've got Hide by Kirsten White. This is one where there's like a competition where if you can spend the night without being found in this abandoned theme park, then you win a big prize. And I think this girl had a similar traumatic experience when she was young, so she thinks she will be good at it, but there's more to the story once she gets in there. This one though, I haven't heard great things about, but it is really short and I got it from the library, so I'll probably at least try it. Maybe if I'm really not enjoying it, I'll DNF it. We'll see. The other one I have is Book of Night by Holly Black. This is another one that I haven't heard great things about. I have really loved some things that I've read by Holly Black before though, and this is her first adult novel, which I was hopeful for. I don't really know what it's about, some kind of shadow magic. I think it's the beginning of a new series. I haven't heard great things. However, I do think a lot of people who might have picked this up would be people who really liked the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black. I didn't even read that because I knew it wouldn't be for me. So maybe people who like that won't like this, but because I don't think I'll like that, this could be something I'll like. I don't know, but again, it's not too long, so I think I can do it. And then lastly, I've got Year to Seven Waters, so I've got the audiobook for this, and this is the 4th book in the series, so that's where I'm up to in the series now. And I want to keep getting through series, which we'll get to in a minute. So I want to read this one. I believe this is following the granddaughter of the main character from the first book. I don't really know any more than that. And honestly, I'm kind of happy just to see what happens. I like Juliette Marillier's writing style. I didn't like the 3rd book in the series quite as much, but I'm hopeful that this 4th book will be a good one. It's all kind of based around Celtic mythology and set back in those times, and I don't know. They're quite slow, but I do enjoy them. And I think, again, mixing the audiobook with the physical book is the approach I want to try. So that would mean that the physical books I want to read in September is all of these. Honestly, I don't know if this is achievable. It looks like an awful lot of books But it is true that 2 of them on here I also want to half read on audiobook. And there's a couple of short ones at the top, so maybe it's doable. But the other thing that I want to have a look at for my TBR is Series 0. So I'm trying to catch up on all the series that I'm reading. I believe at this point I have about 84 more books to read to be completely caught up on series. And hopefully in the last few days of August I can tick off a few more of those. So I'm making good progress, but each month I try to pick 10 books at the moment. I don't know if I can keep that up, but I'm trying to pick 10 books to make progress on for series. So let me tell you about which ones I'm going to do. So let's go through those. As I said, both of these are making progress on series, so that's 2 series progressing already. Also, I've got the audiobook for Ruby Fever, the newest release in the Hidden Legacy series. I did say I would try to get to this in August, but I didn't quite get there. I actually haven't read the rest of this trilogy at all, but I'm still hopeful that I can get a couple of them read before the end of the month. If I don't, I'm just going to read them at the start of September because I am excited to get to this series. It's like a urban fantasy where people have these genetic magical abilities, mostly kind of psychic or telekinetic type abilities. We're following this family of private investigators. The oldest sister has the ability to tell whether people are telling the truth. And I've read the first trilogy following her, and then the second trilogy is following the middle sister, Catalina, who has the ability to make people fall in love with her. So I'm really interested to read her story. I did read a little novella from her perspective, which I really enjoyed. And I love Alona Andrews' writing, so I think that trilogy is going to be a good time. Then as well, on my Kindle, I actually have book 2, 3, and 4 from the Windflower series by Andy Buchanan. I actually only discovered that book 4 had been released just when I was looking at what books I would read just before. But these are super short little ebooks, like 100 pages each, maybe less, following some witches in New Zealand, just living their lives, finding out about themselves. I really like Andy Buchanan's writing, and so this is another series I wanted to finish. Plus that's 3 more books that I could potentially blast through. But also they're ebooks, so it kind of adds to the physical book reading. I know ebooks are not physical, but they kind of are like the same kind of reading, if you know what I mean, like not audiobooks. Then as well, I've got a bunch of series I've been listening to on audiobook. Firstly, the Harry Dresden series. I have the next book, the 12th book, Turncoat. And I also think I might try and read Changes because I've heard good things about Changes, the 13th book. Have I lost some numbers? Anyway, if you haven't heard about Harry Dresden, he is a wizard and also a chauvinistic and also a private investigator. There's lots of drama going on in the magical community in Chicago, which he is very involved in. There's not much more I can say now that I'm up to the 12th book, but I am interested to see whether anything can beat the 7th book, which is currently my favorite. Then as well, I've got the audiobook for, I think it's the 5th book in the June series, Heretics of June. June is a very popular science fiction series. I don't always like the writing style, but I do love the concepts of like evolution and these psychic abilities and the ability to predict the future and mental control of other people. Lots of really interesting ideas. So we'll see what he's done with it in the 5th book. And then as well, I've got the 4th and 5th books in the Demon Cycle. This is a series where I almost decided not to continue it because I don't always love the writing style, but I do enjoy the concepts. So I think I'm going to push through. I'm just going to get the 4th and 5th audiobooks and we're going to go through it and we're going to finish the series and see what he does with the ideas. So in this world, we've got demons that come out at night and the humans have developed these wards to protect themselves from the demons. But also some people do go out and fight the demons, and there's a lot of drama going on between people who want to fight the demons and people who just want to stay safe. But also the demons are trying to work out how to get around these wards, while at the same time some of the humans are learning better and better weapons against these demons. And also we're learning more about the different demon abilities because there are different kinds of demons. So it's an interesting world, but just the way that he writes the books is quite, I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but I don't really like it. But I decided I do want to know what happens, so I'm going to give it another go at continuing. And if I can get through all of those, that'll be 10 more books off my series list. And that means I'll be under 75 books, so we're making good progress because I think I was well over 100 at the start of the year. So one other thing I do want to mention is I think in my last video I talked a lot about my star chart idea. I do actually think I'm going to update that in my monthly wrap up, because at this point I don't know how many stars I'm going to get, because I don't know how many books I can finish in the next few days. I hope I can finish a lot, but also I might not. But also what I wanted to do is have a look at how many potential stars I could get from this TBR that we've just put together. So let me calculate that. Okay, I've calculated. So I think if I read all the books on this TBR, I'll get 4 stars for reading books off my physical TBR shelf. I'll get another 4 stars for completing 2 series. And then I'll get 1 more star for catching up on a series. So I think that would be 9 stars, which is almost 2 books, because it's 5 stars to be able to buy a book. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if I fall a little bit short, but I'm going to give it a go. Do let me know if you've read any of these books, whether you think I'm going to like them, and of course check in again at the end of the month to see whether I actually liked them. And also let me know if you're interested in reading any of these books. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.